Right then, back to normal settings for Manchester United. Back to normality. Back to what I think I was expecting, what I was perceiving would be the reality that we'd have to face. And one of the biggest talking points about this game would be Manchester United and their consistency issues. Nuno didn't set up a master plan. There wasn't any game plan that Nottingham Forest really sort of came out with that really stamped authority on the game. We weren't necessarily this team that was thoroughly beaten by the opposition. This team, showing in its airs of absolute, complete, eviscerated consistencies, proves once again that there's no son of a bitch in that club that can be trusted to get a job done. Not one. Not one can be trusted at Manchester United. No players really deserve any credit. Nobody. Literally nobody. Rashford scored a goal. Cool. So what? Didn't win us a game. Didn't get us a point. Didn't get us anything. Irrelevant goal. Irrelevant goal doesn't matter. Does not matter about scoring a goal in this game. Because the whole team in its entirety, do not even get me started with this attack as well. This attack is absolutely, completely and utterly disgraceful. Completely and utterly disgraceful. One shot in the first half sets up for a very, very boring game. And the thing is, right, is I wasn't around to see pretty much any of this game, but trust me when I say this, I was keeping very close tabs on it. Very, very close tabs. Getting updates, hearing what people are saying. Keeping an ear right on top of this game. And my fucking word, what is this team? What is this team? And my fucking word, Eric, I can understand that you can't do what you want to do because you're trying to work miracles with a bunch of players that do not play for managers, full stop. But you can help the situation a little bit better, don't you think? What fucking planet do you sub on Scott McTominay for Kobbie Mainoo? Because both Forest goals are on that player and you subbed him on. So both of those goals are on you because you put him there. Seriously, Scott McTominay, the invisible man. He just disappears every fucking game. But he scores all of our goals. Who fucking cares? He's to blame for twice the amount. Who fucking cares? Absolute wanker. Sack the fucking prick. I don't care. Sack him. He's not on massive wages. Sack the player. Kick him out on his arse. Seriously, and he's fucking arrogant as well. He is fucking arrogant because apparently I've heard that somebody paid attention and seen in the break of play that Johnny Evans actually went to criticise Scott McTominay on a pitch for where he is not doing his job, supposedly shrugged his shoulders and walked off. I mean, to be honest, with the kind of character he does cut, that I wouldn't be surprised. He would cut that sort of a character. He would. So Scott McTominay clearly just doesn't give two shits about what goes on at Manchester United, because if he did, you would have thought they'd actually be busting his balls to try and cover where there are players clearly unmarked. You would have thought that he would have given enough of a shit that there's a player in a Nottingham Forest shirt about to score a goal, that he would think, actually, do you know what? I should probably be where that player is right now. Because all my other teammates have covered everybody else on the pitch. It's just me. I need to cover one other player, but I don't fucking do it. And I never do it. You never ever see Scott McTominay do it. But who am I to say? Who am I to say? I mean, I can't criticise Scott McTominay. I can't criticise him. He's top goal scorer. Right, so on that basis, right, Scott McTominay, he's top goal scorer. Let's excuse anything he can ever do on a pitch as long as he's the top goal scorer at a football club. Is he a striker? No. Is he an attacking midfielder? Who knows? Is he a defensive midfielder? Who knows? The thing is where the manager tells him to play, he's got a responsibility. Do your best. If we can see you're watching the game instead of just the ball, just stop being fixated on one thing happening on the pitch and ignoring everything else. Because unlike most other things, on a football pitch, Scott, ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is generically the beginning of the end of a football player's career at the professional level. So start acting like your career's on the fucking line, because it bloody well is. Garnacho. This guy, seriously, for all the promise and potential talent that he's worth, God, does he ever not fucking use his head enough? God, does he ever make the wrong decisions over and over and over again? God, if you just actually play heads up, and this is the thing, too many players who don't actually look to keep the play moving. Let's take on a man, let's go into an alleyway, let's run into a wall, let's do everything that doesn't lead to the continuation or the prolonging of our attacking plays. So wasteful. So bloody wasteful. Big ups to Early Doors, man. This will be interesting hearing your thoughts. I mean, it's not really, in terms of content from the game, there isn't really much to talk about barring the goals, because God only knows if anybody was actually doing anything in this game outside of those goals, because Nottingham Forest, right, in the first half had 6 attempts and none on target. The 2 goals that were scored were from all the shots that occurred in the second half from Nottingham Forest. So there's not really much else to talk about than the accountability, or the lack thereof, that this squad has in dealing with those goals. Manchester United scoring a completely irrelevant goal in the 78th minute, you would have thought, well, actually, you score an equalising goal, you think, right, let's get on top of this game and let's push the issue to try and get a winner. But then 4 minutes later, Morgan Gibbs-White is bearing a goal from an assist from Anthony Elanga. Did I not say that Anthony Elanga was going to be a viable threat? Did I not say that he's going to get the attention and anybody else can occupy the space in the middle? That's where the space is going to be. I said this was going to happen. I said that was the risk. That was the danger. I know more about this team and how to beat it than clearly any of the coaches and the manager at Manchester United. But the thing is we could sit here and we could say, oh, well, because it's Ten Hag's fault, we should sack him. Right, and these players, under every other manager that you can possibly name, would go out there and would shit the bed just as much. They would shit that fucking bed just as much because they've done it for every fucking manager before. It is pathetic. It is tiring. We're going fucking around in circles and we don't fucking learn anything. We don't learn shit. Sell the fucking squad. That's the only way that we've got a fucking hope in hell. Worry about managers and which one you want, like it's at you're at a sweet shop queuing up to buy your whatever. Talk about that conversation when the squad's actually filled with players that actually give a shit about the badge that is on their chest and the fans that travel home and away to watch them. Until we have that, beggars can't be choosers. So let's stop worrying about the minor variables that we change one thing from one week, let's change it again to next week, and we still get the same results. Great idea. Like we haven't been doing that for 10 years, don't you think? Bloody hell. Big up Stephanie Griffith. Hope you're doing well. Poor game between two poor teams, but only one winner. Modern Forest and taking your chances. 2 shots in the second half, 2 goals. That's literally all it needed. And do you know one thing? The shots came easy. They came very easy because there's one player in the middle of the pitch that does not deserve a professional contract at a football club. He gives up the space. But, mate, Eric, why the fuck would you sabotage this game? Why would you do that? Why would you do it? You sub Mainu off. There better be a fucking reason for that. If it comes out that Mainu is not injured and it was a tactical switch, what in the ever-loving fuck? I'll tell you what, if it was Manchester City and Pep subs on Scott McTominay for Rodri, and then City lose a game 2-1 to Nottingham Forest, because McTominay doesn't mark the midfield runners like he's never ever done in his Man United career, maybe Pep Guardiola would just get sacked for that alone. Because at least Manchester City are a serious club. In fact, I'll say that. It's funny I say that because it would never happen because Scott would never make it to Manchester City. He wouldn't even make it to a club half of their size. But here he is still putting on the Manchester United shirt. Big ups, Kudos. Even I'm sick of the sight of McTominay. Flog him. Yeah, honestly. It's just a complete and utter waste of time. A waste of time. But, the manager, and the thing is, right, is we can have the conversations about why it is we're playing so shit, because Erik Ten Hag at Ajax, let's talk about the Ten Hag at Ajax. An Ajax team would go and play that Nottingham Forest team off the park. That would have happened. He would have played Nottingham Forest off the park because it was attacking with intent. There was ideas. There's a common goal. There is fluidity. There is responsibility, and there is accountability in those Ajax teams. They would have done the job today. Erik Ten Hag's Manchester United doesn't know what the fuck it's doing on a football pitch. There is no game plan. And to me, it screams Erik Ten Hag doesn't know what the best way to get the best out of these players is. But that's just it. That is just it. That's exactly the point. Nobody knows how to get the best out of them because the levels that they play at are so shit, you can only assume that that these guys can do better. You can only assume that. Yet they always end up back to square one. They always end up back here. So it makes you wonder, if we are complaining about shit we've complained about before in terms of players not playing, football being shit, football being dross, being boring, lack of attacking threats, open at the back, all of these conversations we've had under every other regime, it has not changed. But apparently, if we sack this manager, these players will do better. And the thing is, here's the worst part. People are literally saying anyone but Ten Hag. People saying bring Ollie back. Bring Ollie back. Right. So for somebody that regressed this club, regressed it, you want to bring him back to regress it even more. Hats off to you. Hats off to you. Let's regress this club even more. Instead of actually realizing, yeah, this is a big fucking problem. Maybe we should ignore everything else and focus on that. Players, fucking wasters. Absolute wasters, kick them out. The manager, my God, if you have your own squad and you're still not playing anything like the way you should be, you can join them. You can join them. But I give you the benefit of the doubt because you are just like every other manager that's ever served at this club. Lost like a deer in the headlights. These players throw every manager under the bus and every manager has no answer for it. They have no answer for it. Couldn't give these players away, spot on, buddy. McTominay, Invisible Man. And that's not going to change. And this is the thing. This is why I actually believe to stand by the statement. Goals mask trash performances. They do. They mask trash performances. McTominay against Chelsea did everything right to score a goal. Reality of the matter is, what else did he actually do on the football pitch outside of that? And all the other games that's been a common theme. Big ups Taib. United are finished. We are finished in every sense of the word. And you know what, Sir Dave Brailsford, you were in the stands today. I hope you watched that. I hope you drink it in and really deep it just how far in the shit we are. Welcome to Manchester United. There's your introduction. You saw some good against Villa. Yeah, you see some of the shit. Some of the shit. Here's to you, Sir Dave Brailsford. Listen, you're going to need an army. A fucking army if you're going to change this. You are going to need a fucking military bigger than Russia, United States, China combined. You need whoever the fuck you can get your hands on to kill this culture that we've got reeking through our club. Bunch of loser mindsets, underqualified people, and an arrogance to not take accountability for one's actions. That these players don't think, well, if I lose a game, that analytics would point me out as a problem, that I don't take the responsibility to fix myself up. No, we don't do that here at Manchester United. We do not do that whatsoever. Big ups, Luca AFC. Hope you're doing well, mate. And big ups to Longhaired Yeti. Congratulations on the win. I mean, probably one of the worst 2-1s I think a football fan will ever see, by the looks of what the conversations about the game are. Probably one of the worst 2-1s you'll ever see, but At the end of the day, if you win it, you win it. If you don't, you don't. And with United's case, well, with Nottingham Forest's case, wait for the weaknesses to show and exploit them. And you know what? Forest did that both occasions, both goals, both of your 2 shots you had in the second half came from exploiting the weaknesses. And that's literally all you need to do. That's all you need to do. And outside of that, literally just nothing else to say about this game. That, you know, if I want to go on about, you know, all the issues with Manchester United, I'll end up starting to repeat myself. I'll start to repeat myself. But just a run through on the team. I mean, Andre Onana, not an awful lot that can be said about the goals, because even with Andre Onana and that defence, even if it were both better options, if it was David De Gea and it was Varane Martinez with Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter. That goal, both of those goals come from a lack of responsibility and accountability being taken by the midfield players. Christian Eriksen, we already know he's not, you know, suitable for that role, right? We already know that, but he's not asked to be the holding midfielder. Whoever is asked, that's on them. That's their responsibility. Kobbie Mainoo did not open that kind of space in the entire first half. Why the hell would you decide to expose the midfield? Why would you choose Ten Hag to expose that midfield? Kobbie Mainoo had it covered. He had it covered, but you completely just sacrificed the game with that stupid decision. Boring game, to be honest. We just did the right things when we had to. Absolutely. Revenge is sweet, though, not gonna lie. Well, at least we take something from you. It's like the season of giving, isn't it? We take something from you, and you take something from us. Tit for tat. My mum asked if McTominay is a runaway model. I don't know how to answer. Oh my days. Well, he might as well be a runaway model, because Christ only knows if he's a footballer. But big ups to you, Pulse Play. I hope everything's good with you. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before, so welcome to the show. Welcome to the stream and the channel. Hope you enjoy your stay. But you might as well say he's a runaway model, because I mean the guy just he's almost running away from when the ball gets to the areas of the pitch where you should be marking, where you should be compensating. Well, you should be occupying the space. Instead, he leaves it open for everybody else to occupy. Unfortunately, his teammates are busy, so the space, the people who occupy his space are the attackers from the other team. And you know what? The thing is, it's cutbacks. Cutbacks when there's midfield runners. Always, always, always. If you want to score goals against Man United, work cutback chances. The midfield runners will not get picked up when McTominay is on that pitch. If you've got an Amrabat there, if you've got Mainoo there, a Casemiro, any of those three there, it's going to be a harder day at the office to get any cutbacks. It's going to be a much harder day at the office. But if McTominay is your holding midfielder, just work a cutback and you'll get clear-cut chances like that. And it doesn't take much to score. It could take, like Wigan. I'm not trying to be funny here. If Ten Hag starts McTominay as the holding midfielder against Wigan, we are losing to them. We are losing to them because it's a simple approach that requires to break down that midfield and expose the defence, by which you create the chances. You're in a goal-scoring position, irrespective of what backline's in front of you. In those areas, it's got to be on the midfield to occupy the spaces and cut off those passing lanes. It does not matter if it was Johnny Evans or Harry Maguire or Victor Lindelof. It does not matter. Even if it was Bayindir playing at centre-back for whatever God knows reason. It does not matter. It's on the midfield, and both goals are as a result of a lack of accountability from a holding midfielder. Like, I don't care if you can't do the job very well. I'm not asking for a world-beating performance here. I'm just asking for you to do the absolute utter basics of your job. Just do the basics. Just be in the right positions. And literally, it doesn't take a genius to do it. It's not rocket science. Wout Weghorst could have played the CDM role better than Scott McTominay. He could. He could do it better. Because at least when you tell Wout Weghorst, hey, can you occupy this space in defensive scenarios when they get into the final third? He would be there. He would be in that space. As to placing the challenge, as to actually making the tackle, you know, he's not specialised to do that kind of defensive work. I'd say, well, at least we know you're not a central defensive midfielder. We know you're not. At least we know you're not. But at least you take the accountability of being in the right places, to knowing what your role in the team is. But this guy, who's meant to be the holding midfielder, for some fucked up reason, was propping up in other areas that was not the defensive midfield position. What are you doing? What are you doing, and why are you doing it? I expected more from us, to be honest, but 3 points is 3 points. It is. It is, and we've got Wigan and then Tottenham Hotspur up next. And listen, it could go real south. And you know what? This is an opportune time for United to beat Tottenham Hotspur, and I don't think we will. I don't think we will. It's an opportune time for United to go into the next round of the FA Cup by beating Wigan. I don't think we will. I don't think we will. And it solely comes down to this. It's about the trust. Who do you trust in the squad? And the guys in chat as well. Name me players in this team that start from week to week that you can trust to step onto that football pitch and actually put in 110%. Even if we know that you're not the favourites. So who can we trust to take the accountability for what that shirt you put on represents, what the badge on your shirt represents? Like, who can we trust realistically? Because the problem we've got is with the culture at the club of not taking accountability and lowering standards of this club. The problem we've got is anybody that comes in without removing the core fundamentals of the problems in this team is only a recipe for disaster. It's literally disaster waiting to happen, because you've got the bad apples that make all the other new freshly acquired apples that are propped at the top of the pile. It makes them rot as well. So all the Ten Hag signings that everyone's saying, oh, well, these guys are doing really shit. These guys are doing really shit. It's kind of hard to do anything good when you watch around you and everybody else around you is shit and has been shit for a long time. It kind of rubs off. You might have noticed it in other walks of life. When you're surrounded by shit, you generally kind of irk into the same categories. I fear they will not sack Ten Hag because they will have to pay severance package. Anthony and McTominay are a disgrace. You can play min futsal in United's midfield. You can. The amount of space you get in midfield, you can probably play a five-a-side, to be honest. They will not sack Ten Hag because they have to pay a severance package. Well, the thing is that it's, of course, there is a monetary issue in terms of pulling the trigger preemptively on sacking Ten Hag. I know it's the option that they prefer to do, but the problem we have is whoever we bring in, you're asking a manager to come in and do the best you can with this squad, but then everybody else could have told you whilst you're walking into the office to take the job, everybody walking out of the office will tell you, don't take the job. Please don't. You'll ruin your reputation. You'll get buried alive. It's a poison chalice. Jose Mourinho said that finishing second to Manchester City was the best ever achievement in his career. Do you know what? No truer words have been spoken, because the culture Jose was managing in that time is the same kind of culture we've got today. The same kind of culture we have today. It's that Ten Hag is not the kind of character Jose Mourinho is, so he's not really going to call it out. He'll only call it out once he's been sacked, and I think there is a very distinct possibility that if we do go on, into a situation where we get so piss poor and our run of form is that bad, we keep losing just games on the bounce, it's quite possible that he can get the sack. But there's no other manager that I believe can do better with this squad than what any other manager has done before. Anthony Martial's not going to become a world beater. Marcus Rashford's not going to become a prolific goal scorer. Alejandro Garnacho's growth might be stunted. Bruno Fernandes is going to keep doing stupid Hollywood passes and not actually doing the simple stuff. Scott McTominay's going to continue disappearing. Antony's going to continue being a fidget spinner. Like there's so many things. There's so many things. And it's a huge culmination of problems that the problem overall is so overarching that one simple fix does not change anything. There is 0% of the problem gets fixed with a single change. And that's the biggest trap that I can honestly say, hand on heart, to United fans. Don't fall into the trap. The players will happily watch you fall into this trap, and they'll watch you do it over and over and over again. They get to avoid accountability completely. They get to avoid it because the manager is always the fall guy. Don't fall into the trap in thinking that if we change the manager, now the manager can be at fault for many things, but don't stop the buck with the manager. Keep it rolling until every single one of those fuckers that should not be here, that are still here and are prolonging the absolute misery that is this Manchester United culture, or the modern day squad of Manchester United, keep the buck until the spotlights are on them as well. Because they've been here when Ten Hag wasn't. They have been letting you down, you the fans, they've been letting you down before Ten Hag was here. You weren't saying sack Ten Hag when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was losing 4-1 away to Watford. You weren't saying sack Erik Ten Hag when the players were walking in the Manchester derby under Ralf Rangnick. You weren't saying sack Erik Ten Hag when we beat Manchester City away under Jose and then lost to West Bromwich Albion the very next game to concede the title to our City rivals on that day. You were not saying sack Erik Ten Hag then. So the fact is that we pin all the problems that have been prevalent with all the managers before, and we're saying, but it's Ten Hag that's to blame for this. Listen, every manager can make mistakes. It's understandable if they do make mistakes. Some mistakes will be punished and will have to face punishment. But let's not ignore the fact that the players are always common denominators when we get to this point. They are always the common denominators. And the thing is the people who will fall into the trap and will be made to look like mugs the most are the United fans. And from one United fan to look out for another. Don't get made to look like a mug again. Please. Don't get made to look like a mug. Hotfuzz, time for your manager to go. Maybe some players too. All the players, Anthony. Big ups to you, man. All the players. You need a clean slate. Yeah, just wipe everything off the board and start from scratch. Because the culture, at least then, you just remove the whole cancer in one big lump, stick it outside, and bring something new in. Bring a fresh idea in, because that culture at least gets made from scratch. That culture gets to decide what it wants to be. But we're trying to polish turds by keeping what's not worked for long times, to keep changing short-termisms to think that it actually does influence the long term. But it doesn't. You have to out with what hasn't worked in the long terms for the longest and replace it with a whole crop of fresh ideas, of something new in the picture of the long term. Fix it with something that's also fresh, the new short terms, and work from there. Build a culture that is built from the foundations up, where you actually feel pride for the shirt that you represent and the fans that you play in front of, because they are the ones that are taking the fall for it the most. 3 hit season, need new manager and a proper clear out. Well, perhaps we do, Tony. Perhaps we do. Big ups to you, man. Perhaps we do need a new manager. And I think the thing is that if we change the manager, the problem that I have is that if we sack Ten Hag tomorrow and we bring someone else in, and that's the only change we make, I'm just going to say, no, I'm done. I'm done with the season. I'm done with the season. I don't care where we finish, because these players are still here. I'm not supporting them. I'm not supporting them. I'm not cheering any goals. I'm not cheering anything. I'm not backing them. I'm not. And I'll say I feel so sorry for that manager that's gone in there. Whether it be Graham Potter or Gareth fucking Southgate, I would say I feel so sorry for you. I do. I absolutely do. I feel so sorry for you. Because the players are still there, and they'll happily get you sacked as well if they don't like you. But look at Spurs, Villa, and even Forest manager. They have a playing style. Ten Hag has been here almost 2 years without ideas. The players are shit, we know, but you have to make smart decisions. The thing is, Pulse, what we were doing last season, we had a foundation on an idea in getting by, right? In getting by. Ten Hag has stated, right, in terms of asking him, why don't you play the way that you did at Ajax? He says, well, I can't play the way I did at Ajax because it's a different team. Well, we all know that's bullshit. We all know that's a lie. We all know Ten Hag is lying about that. We know he's lying because what other manager does that? What other manager on planet Earth goes to a different club and thinks, I'm not going to play anything like what I did at my old club? What, so you basically turn your back on what was working for you in your managerial career? So to me, he's trying to cover up. He's trying to cover up that these players cannot do what he wants. So on that basis, perhaps we could say this, Pulse. Perhaps we could say this. Ten Hag and Manchester United are not the right fit because these players cannot play what he wants to play. So on that basis, perhaps if you were to let him go and say, well, we're going to try and get a manager that is more like the style that these players want to play, But even then, we've already had the managers that play the style that these players want to play, and still we were shit. That's the double-edged sword that I find with this. Is Ten Hag, even if he is a bad fit for Manchester United, I mean, it sucks because before anything has we'd ever kicked a ball under Ten Hag, we were thinking, look at Manchester United as a football club. You think for a type of manager Ten Hag is, he comes in and there's wonders of a project that could happen here. But then we have to wait for the devil in the detail and see exactly how this whole project, or whatever it is, whatever you can call it, unfolds. And you actually see just where the problems start to show themselves. And these players, under whichever manager it is, they've always failed under every manager. So Ten Hag can be as bad a fit as he wants. These players wouldn't have done any better for a manager, even if they were more like, even if they had a play style that was more like an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And this is the thing, we can say there's no style of play, and there isn't. There really isn't. It looks like a free-for-all on a football pitch, right? But we had an idea for counter-attack under Ole, and we still got piped. We still got battered. Still. That was when we had ideas. That was when we had a style of play. Jose Mourinho had a style of play. Still got beat week in, week out in the seasons that they got sacked. It all comes full circle. Somebody needs to tell Onana that the statue goes up after a career has ended, not while it's in play. Mate, well, big ups to you, Big T. I'll tell you what, Andre Onana, I mean, Christ, I mean, as far as goalkeepers go, I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy does look very immobile and almost frightened of his own box, and that's probably in essence that he's got absolutely no confidence. And to me, it's kind of criminal that we persist with a goalkeeper that has no confidence. You know, it's kind of criminal that we do that. To me, Bayindir should have been in quite a while ago. He should have been in quite a while ago. So we were shit before Ten Hag came in. Yeah. Under Ten Hag, we are shitter. Yeah. The players have done better than this previously. Yeah. The difference now is the manager has lost them. Yeah. All of those things are true, Big T. All of those things are true. We've gotten worse because the players are taking more and more liberties. And because the problem hasn't been fixed for so long, the thing is about a cancer is if you take painkillers to soften the pain, you're not actually stopping the cancer. It just gets worse. So we are going downhill. We are declining downhill, and these players are also going with that. They are following that gradient. So we get player regressions like Marcus Rashford. Looked good under LVG in his breakout season. You know, from time to time, looks good under Jose Mourinho. Ole comes in. We see one or half a good season from him, and it sort of fades away. And then you're seeing, he's hot and cold, and then he starts to go downhill, and then we get last season under Ole, Rashford not really effective. Ralf Rangnick comes in, Rashford starts to walk instead of run, and then Ten Hag comes in. He's like, right, okay, we'll put you on the pedestal. Rashford feeds into that, create the chances for him. He starts scoring some goals. You think maybe Rashford can actually keep this going. Unfortunately, he hasn't, and he's reverted to type. like he did under Ranić. And that's the problem, is player regressions, and it's been coming from a while off. To be quite frankly honest, looking at it from a long-term perspective, there's quite a few players that have also regressed over a prolonged period of time. And perhaps we aren't quite at the end of the line with the players. I mean, I know us fans, we demand a lot, and we want, we push for changes, improvements, and we are desperate for it. We've been deprived of success for far too long, and it's just these players they're not fit to incite the change, and the manager can't do much to actually help the case. There's one manager and a squad of 22, 23, 24, 25 players, and it's kind of hard. Well, it's easier when you've got like 3 or 4 players that need to be offloaded that are real shitters, but we've got like 22, 23. There's a whole squad is outnumbered. It's like the Alamo. Don't forget, Ten Hag additions have made a shitter. The Onana signing makes no sense. The Mason Mount signing makes no sense. The Amrabat signing is a loan deal because we couldn't afford to buy him in the summer anyways. The Antony signing makes no sense in why he's regressed. Casemiro was actually all right. He's a pretty good signing. He's probably the best signing one of the best signings that we made based off of last season. And Lisandro Martinez. There are 2 players there that are genuinely worthy signings. Malacia was a very cheap signing, but he's not been fit enough this season to actually see how he can kick on. So there's a couple of hits there, but my God, the misses, my God, do they miss? They really, really miss. Onana makes no sense when we had David De Gea. And the goalkeeping issues in the team. I mean, we lost the game today because of our midfield was too exposed. Those are problems we could have fixed this summer. And have we? Have we fixed those issues? Not really. Would you agree that Jim and Brailsford, etc., need to overrule Ten Hag and bring in a keeper this window? Bendir can be number 1, a new keeper can be number 2, and Onana can go on loan or be a league grant. I think with what Sir Jim and Dave Brailsford are going to do is they're going to overhaul the recruitment system. They are going to overhaul the recruitment system. They're going to bring people in to essentially take that, to take that influence or, the transfer side of things away from Ten Hag. They want to take that away from him. And to be fair, that's what it should be. That's how a proper top level club operates. They have someone who is very technical, very good at their job to do all of that sort of work in the transfer markets. So the quicker we can get Eric away from having to make recommendations, and the sooner we can get people in who will actually say, yeah, that's a player that we've identified that's actually a good fit, we'll sign them. And we'll actually sign them for a sensible price and not stick them on hundreds of thousands of pounds every week. That would be fantastic. And the sooner we can get that, means that we've got more faith that our signings that we bring in will actually have more of a desired impact in the team. In terms of the goalkeeping situation, I don't think they're going to look at the goalkeeper situation. I think Onana is probably not going to recover any semblance of anything. So for me, he's done already. At Manchester United, he's already done. Bayindir, we don't know how good Bayindir is. That's why I'm praying that he plays against Wigan, so we can learn a little bit more about what Bayindir is about. So for me, it's got to be play Bayindir, probably let Onana go or sell him at the end of the season. As for this window, I don't know how much money they're going to play around with. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the plans are. I mean, Sir Dave Brailsford was in the crowd with was at the stadium tonight with Sir Alex Ferguson. So there's a set of eyes there that has seen what was good about the Aston Villa game, but he's just seen exactly what the reality and the weight of the situation is tonight. So for me, Sir Dave Brailsford, over to you, mate. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Sir Dave Brailsford is on the phone as we speak, calling loads of people. It's like, right, pack your bags, you're coming to Manchester. We've got a shit ton of work to do. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the phone right now talking to people that he wants to bring in. Get them in as soon as possible and start gutting the place. As Herbert says, reports are saying that Man United are after Kimmich from Bayern Munich in January. Ratcliffe saying United got 65 million to spend in this window, but players will be leaving too. Well, I'll tell you what, Anthony, if we have got 65 million to spend, we have actually, even if you sign Jean-Claude Todibo, you could probably do a deal somewhere around 30 million or so. So you can get a centre back in like that. Yeah, that provides some good cover. You could sign somebody else or another player or two. Well, you could sign another first team player easily with that money. And then you can sell a couple of players and then bring in a third option. So you could realistically, you could sign with 65 million plus then sell an extra player or two. You could walk out of that January transfer window between 3 and 4 signings. You could do it. Unlikely. I don't back this board that we currently have to do it. But listen, if you're on your A game and you are, at elite level in your line of work, I believe that's a distinct possibility. 65 million, you say. Let's sell them Havertz. But Tony, man, you can't say that. Half of your fan base said they missed Havertz against West Ham. And him not being there is the reason why you didn't win. God, you need your carrier for the season. You need your saviour back. You need Havertz the saviour back to save your sinking ship of a title charge. We could get De Gea back in for just a wage, even if it's just short term. The funny thing is, Big T, is that there are probably some people that might look at that and actually think, well, yeah, like what we've done with Johnny Evans, signing to a 1-year contract or something, or just for the remainder of the season as cover. Like we need a shot stopper. We're leaking too many goals. Our goalkeeper's making too many mistakes. And he's not getting the basics right. The funny thing is that David De Gea could walk into that team, having not played for well over half a year. He could walk back into that team, and he'd still occupy a better fit in between our sticks than Andre Onana is. Out of football for over half a year, and he'd still be better. Madness. Arteta has never been as bad as Ten Hag is now. Count your lucky stars, Arsenal, I say. Well, I don't know if Arsenal's squad has ever been as bad as Manchester United's. I know that he's had 2 8th place finishes in a row, and some of the games that when they lost those games, they looked absolutely clueless in. So it can happen to many teams, it can. It's possible. I mean, Mikel Arteta, he is kind of the reason why Arsenal still haven't won a league. At the same time as responsible for getting them into the questions about title charges. You lift them up so high, and then they, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And Arteta's big head, his big Lego head, he's floating up to the top of the table. But Pep Guardiola's got the darts. He just needs to throw one, and he pops it, and then Arteta comes flying down again. But anyways, that pretty much wraps up the match reaction. I'm going to have a look around, a little read up on what everybody else is saying about this game. I'll see if there's anything else that I've missed, but just to caption the situation that is at the moment with Manchester United. God only knows, do I ever want to load up Twitter and see what absolute abominations and what posts the cretins have unleashed on the platform. BT, don't think Moyes was as bad as Ten Hag. He wasn't. I'd rather Moyes back. It's that bad. Happy New Year, Eric. I mean, Moyes would still end up getting sacked, to be honest. He'd still end up getting sacked. And guys like Marcus Rashford would just be like, nah, fucking. He'd still play McTominay and end up getting sacked, I swear to God. The quicker we can get rid of Scott McTominay, right, this guy, I swear to blood Christ on earth, this guy has manager's nudes every fucking time. Every time he's got the manager's nudes. Whether it be Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralf Rangnick, or Erik ten Hag, this guy has nudes. He has them some private pictures that some eyes should never ever see. And this guy somehow gets leeways into all the teams. New Year's countdown stream, Fuzz, or are you out on the town? I won't be out on the town, but I'll tell you what, Matt, you've said that. That's probably an idea because I've got New Year's Day off. So I can go as late as I want on New Year's Eve. And that being tomorrow, I've got work, finish work, come home. We can do a New Year's thing. We can do a countdown to the January transfer window opening and have it mean absolutely nothing to us. But I'm sure I can do something like that, Big T. So, yeah, that's a good shout. It's a good shout. But anyways, thank you very much to everybody for watching. Do be sure to leave your thoughts and your feelings about the match in the comment section below. If you're watching on playback, make sure to hit the likes and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. I see we're 141 subscribers, so big ups to everybody that has been subscribing. Really massively appreciate the love and support you guys are showing this channel. And the growth is seeing an uptick in growth with the channel, which is really, really good. So thank you very, very much to everybody that is subscribing. Real MVPs for the channel. As with the recommendation of Big T to doing a countdown stream for New Year's, I'm sure we can do something like that. Be more happy to. If don't get the chance to, Happy New Year to you, Fuzzy, and the family. You too, Early Doors Man. You too, Tony. But also, yeah, if for anybody, if that isn't around, if I mean, I'll tell you what, Early Doors, if you are around like Sunday night or something, and you're doing something of a countdown to New Year's Day or something, I don't know if you'll be around. You might be celebrating with family or something, but if you are around, drop me a message, and you'll be more than welcome to hop onto a stream if we do something like that tomorrow night. And that is invitation extended to everybody else as well. To Anthony, Long Ed Yeti, Kudos as well. It's extended to everybody. So yeah, big ups to everybody. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. As I've said, comments down below. leave your thoughts, your feelings about the match, and obviously all things to do with Manchester United. What's going through your minds? That's it from me for now, and we'll probably be seeing you again tomorrow. So until then, enjoy the rest of your Saturday nights. Take care, goodbye, and we'll see you on the next one on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. We'll have to see how things go. But until then, take care, goodbye, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.